Me again. So we're in the middle of a chaotic kitchen renovation, which is where I demoed the entire thing, and we are putting it back just little pieces at a time without planning the whole thing in advance. Last time we did kitchen cabinets, I showed you how to take stock cabinets and turn them into something completely custom. They are looking amazing, except this area. I think we can make it so much better. So today's project is a one-day DIY, super fun build. We are going to add a little cabinet nook with some wood tones and vintage charm. Here's the plan. A simple box, one shelf, furniture legs for some charm and some character, and then using a gallery rail and staining it all to match with maybe a fluted background. So let's get into it. You can do this project on the end of any cabinet. I left an overhang of my countertop so I could make a really deep shelf, but you can also make it with just 1x2s if you want a little ledge. I'm using 1x5s. I cut 2 sides, 3 shelves, and 2 pre-made cafe railings. I'm using red oak because I like the grain, but pine is more budget friendly. The first step is to build a basic box. So if you've never built a box before, it's way easier than you think. I always use pocket hole screws. You can use a jig, which is basically something that's going to guide your drill at an angle. So you're drilling an angled hole, and this is going to allow you to attach boards with a really strong joint. And as always, if you use wood glue, your joints are going to be way stronger. I have a full tutorial if you want to get started with pocket holes, and if you're a pro, you know how they work. You can add the middle shelf wherever you want, just make sure to attach with the screws on the bottom for a polished look. Now, time for some legs. I'm using 6-inch furniture legs. I just screwed a hole and I'm attaching them with wood glue. For some added texture, I added some fluting paneling behind the shelf before attaching it, just so that I could line everything up. My usual go-to for this texture is pole wrap, which is designed to wrap around basement poles, but this time I'm using something different. This paneling comes pre-finished, and I love this dark color. It's really easy to work with. You can just cut it down to size on your miter saw or with a circular saw, and I'm attaching it to the end of the cabinet with some wood glue and some pin nails. And then double checking to make sure I didn't nail the drawer shut. Okay, we're all good. I will link this stuff because I really like it. It interlocks and it's really easy to install. It probably makes more sense to use a construction adhesive, but honestly, wood glue is what I had on hand, so we're working with what we got. I actually did a whole accent wall in my dining room, so it's going to tie in really perfectly with this texture. The top is finished, and now it's time to add the bottom. You could just do one big piece, but I'm working with some scrap pieces using the shelves to cover the gap so that I can make use of all the material. You can see how this paneling added so much depth and dimension. I love this texture and this color. And this would also be beautiful on a dresser or drawer fronts. There's so many places that you could put this. Okay, time for the best part, these cafe railings. They come pre-finished just like this in a 4-foot long piece. So I just measured so that the little spindles would be evenly spaced out, and I cut one for the bottom and top. I added wood glue, and now I'm just gently tapping them into place with a mallet. Not only do these add texture and give a really cool vintage look, they're also going to help keep everything on the shelves if I want to lean some cookbooks or cutting boards. I'm envisioning adding these to the open shelving in my kitchen too, so everything will look super cohesive. After tapping them in place, I added a couple pin nails to each end, just to hold everything in place while the glue dries. This is an extra step and totally optional. Okay, let's hope this fits, because it's time to install it. Pre-building the shelf like this allows you to get everything square and level, so it's really easy to install. I'm attaching it with 2 screws on the top going into my butcher block countertop. Since this is hardwood, I pre-drilled the holes. Normally you don't need to, but hardwood can split a lot easier. So I drilled a hole just to be safe. I also added 1 more screw under the middle shelf into the back wall, so everything is held securely in place. Okay, now it's time to make it all match. Stain is the magic when it comes to getting a custom look for wood. I had this fluted paneling and it already came pre-finished, so I wanted to match it so the whole thing looks cohesive. Here's a look at the paneling up close. You can see this wood tone is a perfect blend of not too warm and not too cool. I found out recently that Behr actually has wood stain, which I hadn't used a lot before, and they're tintable, so they have way more colors than what you can get in store. Here's what it looks like. I love that I was able to get just a little sample size of stain because I'm not going to use this a lot of places, and usually just a little bit of stain can go a long way. And I found one that was almost an exact match. What I like about this stain is it's water-based, so it goes on more like paint. Normal oil-based stains or penetrating wood stains can be really hard to get the color right, and they can come out really, really splotchy if you don't apply them carefully and really blend everything out so there's no brush strokes. As a pro tip, you'll always get a better finish when applying with a staining pad because it won't be splotchy or streaky, but I used this little brush and it honestly worked amazing. It definitely would have been easier to paint before installing it, but here we are. And because this stain is water-based, cleanup is so easy. You don't need mineral spirits, you can just wash your brushes. Okay, are you ready to see the reveal? Let's review. Here's the boring before, and this is the after. So much function added in just a tiny amount of space, and I love the vintage charm. If you like this video, you should follow along so you can stay tuned for more projects just like this. Thanks for watching. Hit that subscribe button, give it a like, let me know in the comments if you're trying this build or if you've done something similar. And now you should go make something.